What y'all saying? Fat people can't get themselves in debt? Hell, I owe my refrigerator so much food, I gotta take a loan just to get a damn ham sandwich.
You know what, pal? I'm in debt too. So much so that I'm gonna have to sell my right testicle on Facebook Marketplace. My right kidney. Anyways, Squid Games just dropped a second season, and just like everyone else who watched the first season, I completely forgot the show even existed. Now, not to say the show wasn't good at all, because, well, it was. But when I heard season 2 was coming out, oh boy, I was jumping around like a kid who just found out that there was a puddle after it rained outside. All of a sudden, everything from season 1 came rushing back, and I remembered we got left on a fucking cliffhanger, which happened again this season, but we'll get into that. Episode 1 kind of starts off slow, showing Jihan ultimately not getting on the plane where it left us at the end of season 1, and skips to 2 years later, where my boy goes from a cute little Powerpuff Girl to being the goddamn Punisher. My man went from
"I'll have her home by 9 p.m., sir,"
to
"She'll be home when I'm done with her."
Eventually, his men end up finding the recruiter after some time, then they go after him and ultimately get the shit beat out of him, and then get captured and tied up. A little bit kinky if you ask me. Jihan finds him and plays game of Russian roulette with the recruiter, and he ultimately ends up killing himself, which then Jihan finds one of the Squid Games cards for a Halloween party. Now Jihan believes he knows where the front man is going to be so that he could take him out and stop him for good. Oh, I forgot to mention, remember that cop who was looking for his brother last season and then found the island and discovered his brother was the front man? He was also in the first episode as well, just kind of forgot to mention that. Jihan discovers he's there and decides to team up and form a new team of goddamn Navy SEALs, and settles to plan to ambush the front man and stop the games since they know the possible location. At this time, for some reason, we're now introduced to a main character, which in my opinion doesn't have a lot of relevance to the season whatsoever, but I thought I'd bring it up at least once. We end up at some theme park sort of thing where some lady is dressed in a furry costume, but then she goes to finish off her day. And this dumb fucking kid who looks like the Mrs. Strawberry Shortcake comes in and hears one of the mascots swearing and starts to cry like a little bitch. Shut the fuck up. The bunny mascot ends up quitting for supposedly family stuff. Then we learn at the end of the episode she just becomes one of those Squid Games guards. At this point, I was like, okay, damn, this is gonna be interesting. Maybe she'll flip and like help Jihan or something. Nope, this bitch has no significance to the goddamn story whatsoever. I only brought her up just so I don't see in the comments,
"Oh, Ethan, you forgot to bring up number 11 guard."
No, I didn't forget. I just don't give a shit. Anyways, Jihan and Jungho. Wait, Jungho, that's the guy's name? Holy shit, I'm not trying to sound racist, but Jungho sounds like a pun for something like a Bob. Anyways, they end up going to this Halloween party looking for the front man. They all got ambushed and fucked, but Jihan ends up in a limo after he followed one of the guards and speaks to the front man over some pig speaker thing. The front man refuses to shut down the games, which why would Jihan think he would? Then Jihan says he'll complete the games one more time to show that he will keep everybody alive, which, you guessed it, will not happen. Well, here we are. So Jihan wakes up in the sleeping quarters of Squid Games after being knocked out from the gas in the last episode. It's time for Jihan to pull LeBron numbers. I mean, he has one after all. He should know the games, right? Now, we're introduced to some new characters here, like number 7 and his mom, 149. For some reason, both joined because his son's debt, which, I'm gonna be honest, if my son got in debt, oh well, tough pickings. I ain't going through all that shit. He can do it himself. We get 390, which turns out to be Jihan's lifelong friend, 222 and 333, which I guess used to date and now they're gonna have a kid together. Player 124, 125, and Thanos.
What's up? Nice to meet you, my brother. Welcome to the Thanos world.
And my personal all-time favorite player, player 120. Now, the first game is red light and green light, and Jihan tries to warn people not to move. Evidently, they end up following his lead, and not significant casualties were recorded. Now, I forgot to mention at the start, before the games even start, this season they started voting, so players can vote when the game is done, and they can evenly distribute the cash prize. Now, once the game is over, it's time for them to all vote. While voting is close, Jihan finally reveals that he has won the game before, and at this point, it seems like more people want to continue playing, as Jihan may know what the next game may be so they can win. Voting is currently now at 182, and there's one person left to vote. Now, as soon as I saw this motherfucker walking up, I immediately knew who this motherfucker was gonna be. This man votes, stays, turns around, guess who it is? The front man. Now this is where it gets intense. The second game is going to start and all the contestants are asking Jihan what is going to be, which he believes is the cookie cutting game. I don't know about y'all, but I'd be able to fuck up that game no problem. Call me the baker's ninja because I'm winning that round easy. At this point, player one, who's actually the front man, seems to start to join the group with Jihan and the others. Now keep in mind, when the players enter in the game room, Jihan is looking around like, what the actual fuck is this? Bro looks like he just dropped his cannoli at the subway station and disappeared into thin air. Shit, I'd be confused as well. Now, the game is different from last season. Now it's some circle game where you're all tied together and play mini games, then have to finish a race at the finish line. Now, during this minigame, it focuses on two sets of groups. Jihan's main group with people who seem, let's just say, a little more athletically inclined and sane. And then the curly-haired fuck in his mother's group. Gosh, I can't stand this guy. Now, player 7, his mom, player 120, player 44, and player 120's love interest, I don't know, I forgot her name, but they all make it through. At this point, people were cheering whenever someone would make it through the game, even the front man himself. Like, at this point, I was starting to get a liking for this guy, I'm not gonna lie, which sucks because I knew deep down that he was gonna pull some fuck shit, which he did, but we'll get to that. You know what I hate? I hate how they leave you on a damn cliffhanger on every single episode at this point. I'd be watching 2 episodes and go, okay, this is gonna be my last one, and then they pull this bullshit. We start this episode with Jihan's group finally being able to go, and they're the last group. At this point, they're moving quick as hell. That is until player 1's spinning challenge. This motherfucker purposely sacrificed his whole team, but then when Jihan's game went, he then chose to help him? Now, voting time, and oh no, looks like more games. And I mean, at this point, I know Jihan is trying to shut him down and all, but I'm kind of rooting for the games to continue low-key. Tensions are slowly starting to rise between two sides of the voters. I feel like this is Korea's take on the Bloods and the Crips, but doesn't matter because we got another game. This one, in my opinion, also looks really easy. You spin around a carousel, and when they call a number, you got to get as much people as it calls out, run into a room with that amount of people, and lock the door. Bada bing, bada boom. You survive. So the game has started and nothing crazy happens in the first few rounds until they call 6 players, everybody rushes into a room, and our little side group here loses 120's love interest, which doesn't really seem that significant, but sets up 120 turning into a fucking demon in the next episode. Now, the only other really crazy thing to happen in this game besides people dying is when 390 and the front man end up in a room together after they called 2 people. There's a man in the room and the front man decides to go full Khabib on his ass, choking him out and snapping his neck. This was the last round and everybody lives. Hooray! Oh, wait, I forgot about the one chick who died. Anyways, voting time. Now, during this whole voting process, player 390 is trying to warn Jihan about what the frontman did during the game, which he doesn't for some reason. And 390 doesn't say anything to Jihan, which still currently pisses me off, and he should have. But doesn't matter anyways, because you guessed it, they lost the vote to leave again. This is where it started to get really interesting. Remember how I mentioned earlier that this was going to be like a Bloods and Crips origin documentary? Well, this is kind of where it all starts. Everybody's just beating the living shit out of each other in some sort of bathroom over an argument between 333 and Thanos. And unfortunately, this is where we see the sad demise of Thanos.
I'm so fucking angry, man!
Damn, I'm gonna miss Thanos. Now, all the other players kind of figure out what happened in the bathroom, and the tension is sky high. Jihan is now worried since there are more blues on their side. They'll have to attack them first or die, but he comes up with a better plan in the end. He realizes that after a bit, if they were to kill each other, the guards would have to step in and break it up since they still need contestants to actually compete in the game. They'll hide under the beds, letting some people die at the expense of grabbing the guards' guns and taking over the game in attempt to take out the front man. What could possibly go wrong here? Their plan is in full effect. They end up taking out the guards and getting their guns, forming a team to move to the control room to confront the front man. Now, as the team is heading out, 120 is just sniping motherfuckers like a Navy SEAL. I mean, oh my lord. Never underestimate a trans person, I guess. Is that the lesson we're supposed to be taking away from this? They end up having a guard show them the route of the control room, all while 120 is going full Call of Duty on these motherfuckers until they get split up. Jihan and 390 decide to go down to the control room themselves, while 120 is holding shit down. Unfortunately, they get a little bit away from the control room before they realize that there's too many guards, so what happens next? Good old number one comes with backup. As he makes his way to Jihan and 390, at this point, it's very much now or never. Number one tells Jihan that they'll sneak up and attack the guys from the other side since Jihan and 390 are low on ammo. This is the start of the end. Now, as number one is going to take out the guards, he shoots the two contestants and tells Jihan that they weren't able to do it, and then perceives that he is on his last dying breath. After this, he switches channels on the walkie and tells the guards to end the fighting. Frontman is back, baby. Now, for some reason, Jihan and 390 surrender. I mean, to be fair, I don't know what else you could really do in this scenario, but for some reason, it just didn't really seem that fitting. It was at this point the frontman walks down the stairs, and for the first time, Jihan is face to face with him. At least that's what he thinks. The frontman points the gun down at him and says,
"Now witness the consequences of your little game."
Bang! He fires the gun and kills 390, his lifelong friend, and this is where the season ends. But it can't be it from there. And thankfully, it doesn't. With season 3 coming out later this year, overall, I don't really know how this story is going to progress from here, but I am really interested to see how it will. So I am really excited. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to come out maybe sometime in June. Now, quick disclaimer, I know I did just glance over kind of the full season and then go into full detail of every little part story that was taking place. Whatever his name was, the frontman's brother, I forget his name, but that whole thing and the sailor that was trying to find him and he knocked him out, and so we are gonna have to learn about that. And then also that weird guard side character, I still don't really understand what's going on with that, nor do I really even understand why we're even learning about her story in the first place. Overall, honestly, this season was a great watch for me, and I can't wait to see where season 3 leads us into. If I had to give this a rating, I'd give it a good 8 out of 10. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of this season. Let me hear some of your guys' predictions, what you think's gonna happen in season 3. If y'all could do me a big favor, go down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Stay right now, but I can't love no thought. Thought is a girl that can't get no love from me. Hanging out the passenger side of a best friend ride, trying to holler at